Matt and I are out early this morning in the garden just to see what we can get done. We're going to harvest. I hope we're going to harvest. We're going to get up there and see what there is to harvest. I know there's some Mississippi pink eye peas. I think some of the Holstein peas may be ready. And then I'm hopeful that some of the new beans that we tried up here are ready. I think probably there's some additional butter beans down there that we need to check on, and maybe even some of the Mother Hubbard beans that not Mother Hubbard, are they Mother Stallard? Mother Stallard, maybe? The mother beans. Matt's laughing at me.
Mother Hubbard's a children's store.
Anyway, I think we need to check on them, and we're going to look at our sweet potatoes and see if we grew any. The vines are still green and lush. They've not died back, but we're going to kind of peer down in there and see if we see anything. We have still been so dry here. So me and Matt's already started pulling out parts of the garden. We pulled out some of the cucumbers yesterday and even 2 or 3 tomato plants down at the front there that hadn't really produced anything. And it's just so extremely dry. And this late in the season, we're just not going to try to water those things that have been planted for so long. We're just going to let them die out, I guess. And hope for next year being a more typical summer that we have, where we usually get ample rain. And we even hope to have some irrigation things in place to make it easier if we do have to water. And our fall crops that we planted, they're up, but they're just kind of not really improving because, again, they just need rain. We have watered those some, probably not as much as we should, but rain just does something that watering can't do. Plants really just need the good rain. So we're hopeful that our dry season will go away, but it's certainly still here. So we'll, I guess, Matt, see what we can find though in these beds on the bank, and even take a loop down in the front and see if there's anything there. So we're going to start up here with the Mississippi pink eye peas. We've not even eaten from this patch this year so far, so these will be really good. You see all those yellow leaves? I think the plants are just dying because it's so dry. Little morning glory vine has found its way in there. Isn't that a pretty color of blue? Well, it's not too bad of a haul. There's still some green ones on there. We'll leave them for another day. Now that Matt and I are up here at these 2 rows of beans, these were ones we were just trying this year. There's the yellow eye and the painted pony, I think was the name of them. We're thinking maybe we should just leave them and let them dry on the vine. There's a few of them that's getting dry. Here is the yellow eye. You can see the little part there. It's really a pretty bean. I'll put that one in my pocket. I don't know let me see if I can find a painted pony, and let's see what it looks like. So these are the painted pony. Different shaped bean, more of like a kidney shaped, I guess. But you can see the little painted part there. So I think, don't you agree, Matt? We should just leave these and maybe we'll enjoy them as dried beans. There's not that many. There's just 1 row of each, and a very short row at that.
Yeah, I think it'd be better leaving.
And they're suffering from the dry weather too, so I think we're just going to leave them. We were going to pick them, but I think we'll leave them. You want to see if there's any sweet potatoes?
Yeah, big spider.
Big spider so far is all Matt's seen. Ooh, that's a big sweet potato. Pretty big one. Oh yeah, that looks nice. That's great. These are white sweet potatoes. I can't remember the exact name of them, but I could probably put it on the screen here for you. But I like sweet potato or white sweet potatoes better. I don't know if Matt does or not, but I do. What do you think? You ain't as crazy about sweet potatoes as I am.
I like them all right, but I like regular taters better.
Orange taters.
Yeah, orange taters.
In the middle of our sweet potato bed here, which we typically don't grow sweet potatoes. This was just something we wanted to try. I have several ground cherries that I should have pulled up. They're big. And then I even see a tomato over there somehow that's managed to, oh, more, okay. Managed to grow. And it's got a little tomato on it. I was thinking it'd be a tomato, but that looks a little bit bigger than a tomato. See it right there, Matt?
Mm-hmm.
And I see morning glories. They've infiltrated this bed too. That's enough for supper.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the Holstein peas. Let's see if I can break one open and show you. They really do look like I think, like a little Holstein cow. We got this seed from Debbie at Bryson Farm Supply, and we grew some last year for the first time, I guess it was, wasn't it, Matt? But we just grew like, I don't even, not this many. We didn't grow many this year, but maybe 5 seeds we planted last year, and we really liked them. They taste similar to a black-eyed pea, but my goodness, ain't they pretty? Really pretty. They don't stay that color when you cook them, though.
Was you leaving these?
No, you can get them. Hide from me. So not as many of these as the others as the Mississippi pink eye were ready. So you could pick them when they're green and eat them, but they're just harder to shell out. And since we're going to dry them, we're going to leave those and let them dry out here a little bit longer, and just got these that are easy to shell out. I picked the greasy beans. It'll be the last of them. There's no beans or no blooms left on them, but I ended up with pretty good little basket. I'm going to give them to Granny. We give her the last ones that we picked, and she just thought they were the best ever. She just hadn't quit talking about how good the greasy beans are yet. And she put new potatoes from the big garden in them, so she's just been talking about that. So I'm going to share these with her. This part of the garden is still really pretty with the nasturtiums and those beautiful red flowers there. Really a pretty area. I have pulled out, me and Matt did yesterday, we pulled out almost all of the cucumbers. They were just dried out and not doing very well. And because it's the end of the season and because it's so hot and dry, I've kind of give up on my squash bug prevention method that really worked this year with the pepper spray. So a lot of them have been attacked by the squash bug too. So we pulled most of them out yesterday. We did harvest though, probably, I don't know, a gallon of cucumbers or something like that. So, but that's probably it for the cucumbers. I was really hopeful about the ones growing up front. They're beside the rattlesnake beans there. They're not really running yet because of they're stunted because of the drought conditions too. I was hopeful though that they would come on and I would have cucumbers later in the season. And I think that definitely would have happened if the rain had cooperated. We come down to the lower part of our gardens to see if there's any of those mother beans and the butter beans ready. Look at this beautiful sunflower. It got planted really, really late, and that's why it's just now blooming, but it's really beautiful. And you can see the pollinators are enjoying it, and the birds will after that. These are the mother beans that Matt's picking, and we've discovered that most often they are used as dried beans. So we've been eating them fresh all summer, and they're really tasty. We really love it's got like a different texture, doesn't it, Matt?
Mm-hmm.
But has great flavor, but most often they are grown for dried beans. So we got enough mother beans for a mess to eat, and then these are just a handful of butter beans that we had. There's more of them that we'll be able to to pick along the way, but we went ahead and got that handful. But those, at least it's enough for a mess to eat. Second planting of rattlesnake beans are all the way to the top, and they've got a lot of blooms on them. I'm just not sure how many, though, if any, they'll make because of this terrible dry weather. Again, we've watered them. We have, but it just doesn't do what rain does. It just doesn't give them that vigorous growth that rain will do. But maybe we'll get a few. Here's some ground cherries that are growing right here. Just they've reseeded themselves all over our gardens. We have them everywhere now. Nobody likes them but me, unfortunately. But I always enjoy snacking on them this time of the year. The taste is, some people say like a pineapple. I don't really get that, but maybe a fruity taste mixed with the tomato is the best way that I could describe it. And you can, there's recipes you can make things with them. The only thing I've ever tried was a pie, and I just wasn't crazy about it. It wasn't a pie that I would ever make again. So they grow here and there. They get on Matt's nerves because they self-seed and spread so easily, but I really enjoy the taste. Hey.
Quick draw.
Quick draw. Mine kind of looks pitiful, don't it? It's kind of freezer burned.
I think that's a popsicle from a year or two ago. Looks to me like.
Still really good though. Peach. I didn't think I had any grape for Matt because I forgot to buy any last week. He ate the last one. But then I went downstairs and looked in that freezer, and I found a box of grape and I found a box of peach. So I said, oh, I hadn't had a peach in a long time. I just forgot they were down there. They're good.
Yep.
It's already started to heat up.
It's supposed to be real hot today.
Matt's always grateful for fall, and I usually am, just in a sense that I like all the seasons, so I'm always ready for the next season to come. And you know, you think of fall and the leaves being beautiful, and of course you think about Thanksgiving and you being able to pull out your sweaters again and those things. But Matt's is mostly just the heat. He can't stand the heat. He starts like about June wishing for the heat to go away.
May.
Yeah, and I'm not usually like that, but this year has been so hot, and I think because it's been so dry. It's always hot here in the summer, but I'm just ready for it to be over too. Ready for it to be done.
Ready to stoke that wood stove.
Yeah, sit around the wood stove. Surely by the end of September we'll have some cool relief, and I hope we'll have some rain.
Yeah.
Maybe. Nice little harvest this morning, even though it might not be what we typically would get in years past as far as the beans go. Still very grateful for it. Yesterday morning, Matt and I got out early and did all the tomatoes, so we'd already done it, and all the peppers, which is not many peppers this year, but and worked on the cucumbers and worked on some of the tomatoes, and so we probably got, what is that, a half bushel of tomatoes yesterday? Something like that. Matt's Cherokee purple, and then we had a nice dinner. Matt had a tomato sandwich. I put ham on mine, but it was awful good.
Did you have tomato sandwich?
I did, but I put ham on it.
What was that? I didn't even see that.
It was after you ate. Papaw and Nana come to visit yesterday, so you and Papaw had ate and went outside. I don't know what y'all was doing. And then me and Nana ate. I don't think she put ham on hers though, but I did.
I'm all about ham. I like it. But I don't want it polluting my tomato sandwich. When the tomatoes are in, I want tomato sandwiches, and that's it. And then when they're gone, I'll eat one next year.
They are so good. We sent a lot home with them. And then I had to take something down there for my brother to leave, and I took her some. Took her some of the last of the cucumbers we got. She loves the cucumbers. I think Corey took some home with her last night, did she?
No, she was going to, but they left late, and she said she'd get them today. As dry as it's been, we've done halfway decent.
Yeah, especially the tomatoes have done great.
Tomatoes and corn, and we got a few potatoes and cucumbers. And
yeah, I'm really impressed by the sweet potatoes Matt dug up there. I figured there wouldn't be any, but that was surprising.
Yeah. So, as dry and hot as it's been, we've still got stuff.
Mm-hmm. And I'm very thankful for it.
Yeah.
And we've watered here and there. Some places more than others, if it was easy to get to with the hose or the watering cans. But we've really not watered the stuff on the bank. I watered those potatoes. We did those because they were slips when we first planted them. We watered them for probably, 2 weeks or something. And then we just kind of forgot about them. So those have done good to not have no more moisture than that. And hopefully next year, typically we don't have to worry about drought or dry conditions. I mean, certainly there's been years in the past it was, but it's been a long time since it was this dry.
Yeah, it's been prolonged dry this
Yeah.
year, and it's most years you'll have dry spells maybe, but they don't last near this long.
No, so Matt's thinking about what we could do next year just in case it does this again. Several people have asked us about a rain barrel. We had a rain barrel forever, and you use it, but of course, if it don't rain, it doesn't do you much good. You
Yeah.
use all of it. But we had to move it because of some gutter issues, so it would be nice to have a water or a rain barrel. Of course, you need, like I said, you need the rain to fill it up, but that would be nice. But Matt's thought about, for the big garden, which we didn't water not one time ever, didn't do anything down there, putting a pump in the creek to pump out, that would be, he thinks he could do that. And up here, maybe some sort of, I don't know what he's thinking about up here.
I'm going to run some piping along the bottom of those cow panels and then rig it up to where I can hook a hose to it and turn it on, and it'd be kind of like just a little drip pipe that we can turn it on, let it soak the ground real good, and then turn it back off and unhook from that one and hook to another one and do the same thing.
I'd even be that we really just need it. These back here seem to have kind of done okay.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't get the sun doesn't shine as much. Might just be that we need it up there more than anywhere else. Always something to think about and dream about doing. And even better than all that would be just if our normal weather pattern comes back next year, and then we don't have to worry about it and we don't have to water things.
No, but we could go ahead and have it in place for, and be ready in case it does. And if it don't, then we'll be ready for the next year.
Right, that's true. And then two things, the dry weather and then just the lateness of the season, you can really begin to see the plants, or like that's it for the greasy beans. We'll just pull those out, they're done. It's probably it for the mother beans too. I didn't see any blooms on them. So we could pull those out.
Yeah.
Pull those out. The butter beans still have some blooms, so we'll leave those in the hopes that they might do something else. But anyway, you can begin to really see, and even the trees and the weeds and stuff, our landscapes took on kind of the rusty look that I don't like. It's my least favorite time, but even the trees are still green, but they're a different green. They're kind of a dull, rusty around the edges. All signs, though, of this time of the year of fall. Thinking about those, the ones on the bank, though, it's still shocking to me. We're up there harvesting that stuff. That was a real accomplishment to get those beds up there.
Yeah.
Because that was just wasted bank, all these years that we've lived here. So I'm still tickled about those.
Yeah.
Really nice to have them up there.
It's just hard to keep the saplings and the weeds from overtaking them. And we've not done that good a job at keeping them beat back, or I've not.
No, we've not this year, but just a different year. And plus we had a lot of stuff going on, thinking about Granny but the babies and all that. But mostly it's the heat. And me and Matt, maybe we both got old and we don't want to be out in the heat. But we've not weeded and done stuff like we usually do.
I didn't have to get old and not want to be out in the heat. I ain't never liked it.
But we didn't even, this is the first year in a long time that we didn't even put mulch out. We usually put mulch along the garden beds and around the plants even to keep down the weeds. And we never got that done, but it has been so dry, we've not had as many weeds as usual in the garden beds. The bank, like Matt said, those are saplings and ivy and laurel trying to come back.
Maybe we're getting lazy.
We might be. Might be. I think part of it too was, for me, was in my mind was like, what's, if it don't rain, it's not going to do no good anyway, so why exert the extra energy? I don't know. But like you said, it's still done pretty good.
Yeah, it's
Really blessed and thankful for all the things we grew.
it's not a bumper year, but it's not as bad as you'd think it would be with dryness.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing we didn't really get a lot of like we do normal years is the green beans.
Yeah.
We got some, but not like we usually do.
Mm-mm. Thinking about those sweet potatoes, Granny and Pap never grew sweet potatoes that I can remember, ever. They liked them, but they just never grew them. And me and Matt have never grew them either. I think one time Uncle Henry gave me some slips and we planted them.
Mm-hmm.
Orange ones up there in the front. This has been ages ago, ages. And we never planted them either. I don't know why, but, me and Matt never really planted potatoes up here very much until we started using the grow bags to plant them, just because we don't have much space. But I'm excited about those. Now, Granny and Pap did love sweet potatoes, and they would get them. Of course, you can buy them from the store, but it seems like maybe it was Clyde Ash that grew them. I don't know why I think of him connected to the white potatoes, and Pap would come home and with some, and him and Granny be so excited when we had those. So we really like them. I've seen them for sale at the produce stand in Peachtree too. Me and Granny's bought some down there before, but I just think they have a better flavor. They're not overly sweet as much as the orange ones, but I love them too.
Mm-hmm.
I like sweet potatoes. So many wonderful memories, though. You think about over the years that I've, been writing and reading and researching and stuff for the Blind Pig and the Acorn. So many people have memories of, if you think back in the days when Pap was a boy and Granny was a girl, there wasn't that many sweet things. It wasn't like today and get to go to the store every day of the week if you want to. Just easy times and living in the land of plenty. So many people have memories of the sweet things they had was sweet potatoes, and I've just read so many and heard so many heartwarming stories about that. That was their treat. They would put them in the ashes of the fireplace and roast them. Or, when I'd get home from school, Mama would have me a roasted sweet potato, and it was so good.
Mm-hmm.
And just so many sweet memories. For anybody in any culture, anywhere around the world, so many of our memories are tied to food. You haven't baked sweet potatoes, have you? Or have you baked orange taters on the wood stove or in the coals down there?
Yeah, I double wrapped them in aluminum foil or tin foil and put them in the, covered them up in coals. You got to be careful in the stove. The stove gets real hot. It's better to do it let the fire die down a little bit and then do it, and then it's not too bad. But if you got a roaring fire going, it's hard to do. It'll burn them up.
We've done it camping or even out here in the backyard too.
The ones in the coals is extra good because they get that skin crispy, and I just eat the skin and eat the whole thing.
Yeah. Sweet potatoes don't take near as long as orange taters to cook.
You'd think it'd be the other way around because they're so dense before they're cooked. You've noticed kind of poke them. You just about can't get a knife blade.
Especially those, if they get any size on them, they get big.
Yeah, but they cook.
They cook quicker, much quicker. Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever done a sweet potato on fire though.
They have to rectify that. Look at that little hummingbird over there at my nasturtium. See it?
I see it. There's two of them. No, that's a bee.
A bee, yeah.
That's a pretty big bee.
Yeah, it's a big bumblebee.
Yeah.
I think it run the hummingbird off. That's what it looked like. I don't know if that's just coincidence that the hummingbird left when the bee come or what, but it kind of looked like it.
I already need to up my prescription on my glasses. I thought that was a bird.
I was going to show you.
Goodness.
This is one of the mother beans down there that I talked about. That was
pretty,
they're beautiful. That people, it's primarily apparently a dried bean. I'll read you something about it too, but you can see the little color there. Really, really pretty. Let's see if I can put those down. See if I can find what I was going to. Good Mother Stallard bean. That's the name of it. Good Mother Stallard bean. This was from the Seed Savers Exchange website. It says one of the 1,186 beans given to Seed Savers Exchange in 1981 by bean collector John Withey of Massachusetts, named for Carrie Bell Stallard of Wise County, Virginia. This variety dates to at least the 1930s. Maroon beans splashed with white, 5 to 6 seeds per pod. Wonderful, rich, meaty flavor. Great for soups. Very productive. It says 85 to 95 days. Conventional pole bean, dry bean, maroon and white beans. Meaty flavor. Very productive. This variety works for baking and soups. These beans like to be cooked long and slow at low heat to keep their texture and flavor at its peak. They work well as a side for roasted sausage or mushrooms in a soup with ham and kale, or even in chili. So interesting. I love that history, of course, about them being connected to Carrie Bell Stallard. You know that not only she grew them probably in that area, but probably a lot of people there grew them, and maybe they were handed down in that area, and probably other areas too. But I loved that they said it was the meaty flavor, because that's what me and Matt both thought.
Mm-hmm.
They were similar to when we cooked, like the first ones back in the earlier part of the summer, similar to there was a bean, and we didn't plant any of it this year, but Yount's bean, as Matt's friend Brian shared with us many years ago from the Junaluska section of Cherokee County. And it's a bush bean, and it's not colorful like that at all. But it's like that, almost like makes its own meaty broth somehow.
Oh yeah, it's good stuff.
I mean, now we season our beans with meat usually, so we do add that, whether it's just bacon grease or side meat or something like that, fatback. But they really were good, and we enjoyed the hull. We were eating the hull and all. We're just breaking them like we would the greasy beans and the rattlesnake beans, stringing them and breaking them and putting them, cooking them long and slow like that. But they really kind of had a velvety, like that says, a velvety texture. Yeah. Really good.
Yeah, they're fine beans.
Yeah, and they have withstood this. Now, maybe they wouldn't next year. We'll just have to plant them again and see. But they have done really well this dry season. They produced way better than our rattlesnake beans did, which typically the rattlesnake beans, we can't hardly keep them picked.
Yeah.
And anyway, so it's interesting to grow something different. I like to try everything. I wish I could just grow everything under the sun, but I can't. But I probably try too many, but then every once in a while you land on one that you're like, hey, I really, really like that and really enjoy it.
Right.
Now, if we grew a bunch of those next year, because we just grew how much is that, Matt? Like, how many feet?
Probably 20 feet or so.
Is it that many? I was thinking it wasn't even that many.
Oh, it may not be. I don't know exactly where you're talking about.
So from the butter beans where they started back this way.
That'd be 15 or 20 feet.
Anyway, if we planted a whole big rows, what I was thinking, if we had a place to do that, then we could dry some of them. Dry them. They are so pretty. Now, when you cook them, they don't stay that pretty color. They turn like a tan, dark tan, light brown color, something like that. But they're really a big bean, as you can see, and real tasty. We really have enjoyed them. Yeah, really enjoyed them. I brought 2 of the butter beans. I've showed them before too, but they're just such pretty beans. It's just like opening, I don't know, a present every time you open them and see them. Those are let's see what these are. Of course, I picked 2. I was hoping I got one with the pink in them, but these are still pretty though. But these are just, I guess you would call them speckled butter beans. Those are pretty though, and they're really good. We had some last week, and they were really good. Really tasty. So this is only the second year we've grew the butter beans, and we really like them. Beans make up a big part of our diet.
Yeah. All different sorts of them.
Yeah. Now, I wish we could grow, if we had more long rows like that, which, gosh, we'd work ourselves to death, but if we had like one big long row for the rattlesnake beans or whatever, one big long row for butter beans, one for some type of pea.
I could do that down in the big garden.
Yeah, we could.
We just back up on the corn a little bit. That's kind of hard to do.
Yeah, I don't know if I could back up on the corn. It'd be hard to give up the corn.
It wouldn't be
as much as
it
we enjoyed it this year.
It'd just be giving up a row or 2.
Yeah, which there was those areas we didn't plant nothing.
Yeah, right.
Especially the Mississippi pink eyes, because they grow in bush forms, we wouldn't need to put nothing up for them to grow on. And there are the butter beans we planted down there, which didn't do anything because of the deer and the dry weather, but that was a bush variety of butter beans. So maybe we could think about something like that for next year. Always one of the fun things is to think about the future and think about next year. Dream big, I guess. I'm thinking I better find some okra seeds before next year, since I still haven't been able to find my Jing orange. I know it's here somewhere. And I need to find some pepper seeds that we didn't have.
What is that okra that we did grow?
It's Alabama red, I think. And it's okay. It's been pretty prolific. It's just somehow I don't like the taste of it as much somehow. I don't know. I just don't like it as good.
You're a bit of an okra snob.
Yeah, okra snob. So it'll be fun to think about next year. The seed catalogs will start coming, and you start dreaming about all the stuff. That's what makes me want to grow everything. I'm like, ooh, look at that. Oh, I bet that's good. Look at this.
Like a youngin' going through the Sears catalog years ago.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Matt this year, and I'm glad he did, tamed me back on the tomatoes, and I'm glad we didn't plant as many, and we didn't plant as many different kinds, and I think that was much better.
And we've
still got plenty,
loads.
yeah, and it was just easier. So maybe we'll do a garden roundup video, and talk about things that we really liked and things that we're glad and things that didn't work and all that. Maybe that would be a good thing to do.
You remember years ago when we really started the tomatoes and started planting them pretty heavy, and when we grow like 150 plants, and we did that a couple of years, and we had too many tomatoes. You remember that? And then we started scaling back. I can't remember exactly by how much, but then the year after the first time we scaled back, then we scaled back again, because we kept going, and we actually did it again this year.
Yeah.
To get down to what you think is enough and enough for your use.
I think this year we hit it really good, because there's plenty to can, plenty to eat, and even ones to share. So we've done good with them this year.
Yep.
It was the right amount for sure.
But do you remember how many that was?
No.
We could go count the plants before they die.
Well, yeah, or just, I think the way we did it, because Matt helped me this year, was we thought about how many in each bed, thought about these 3 beds. So, and we didn't we did have some we were going to plant in this bed above us behind here. We never did end up planting tomatoes anywhere else. We give plants away, give them to Granny, and I think some of them died, and we just threw away. Not many, maybe. By the time we give Corey hers and Granny hers, we had like maybe 3 or 4 up here that we were going to plant, and we never did plant them. Actually, I did plant one right there, I remember now that I see. It didn't do very good there, but we had thought we would plant them up on the beds in the bank, and we didn't. Now, I am interested to see that one that we found this morning growing by the sweet potatoes, or in the sweet potatoes, what that'll be. I thought it was going to be a Tommy toe, but it's about that big, which could be. I wonder if it's one of those black cherries.
Oh, it might be. I mean, it's kind of sized like it.
They get bigger than some of the Tommy toes. Anyway, I think we did good with the tomatoes.
Yep.
Matt's been watching, I don't remember who found this. I guess Corey, maybe. Corey and Austin. What's the name of the man? The Outdoor Boys?
Outdoor Boys.
The Outdoor Boys. If you've not watched, you probably have watched their channel, because it's a huge channel. But it's really, they seem like just the sweetest family ever. And mostly it's the ones we've watched. I don't know if there's other stuff, but it's like adventure type. So going and camping in the cold, and, going fishing and those kind of things. And lots of snow. I guess a lot of it's in Alaska.
Yeah, I think they may live there, but they do a lot of traveling and a lot of fishing and adventure and camping, and a lot of outdoor cooking and that sort of thing. And it's all really, really good family, close family, good clean stuff to watch that, you could leave the room, let your kids watch it and not have to worry, and that's hard to find anymore.
That's true. But anyway, we've really enjoyed it probably for over a year, I guess now. I mean, when we first found out about it.
Yeah.
But me and Matt's we've watched it a little bit, like especially if Corey or Katie was watching it, but not really watched it a whole lot, just us, ourselves. I think Corey and Austin went through a spell where that's every day, that's all they watched, was that. Well, I guess that's why Corey was pregnant, is what she was watching a lot. And
Yeah,
then,
it's a massive channel.
after Katie had Ira for days, she watched it for days, like when, you know, little ones are, when you first have them and you're recovering and all that, so she watched it. Anyway, so we've been watching it, me and Matt have, and really enjoying it. But if you have watched it, you've probably seen that he makes this bread that he takes with him a lot. You know, he, like Matt said, he shows a lot of the things he cooks and eats when he's camping. And we both were interested in it, and I was even interested in it the first time I ever seen it, but I didn't give it much thought other than thinking, well, that's interesting, and that was about it. But Matt has, you know, because the gentleman has a video where he tells about how to make it and all that, and so Matt had watched it, and he started thinking, well, I'm gonna figure this out. So he made some, and so it's flour,
Bread flour, salt, sugar, yeast, and water.
yeah,
And
then
he, I mean, you can do it any way you want to, but since he's going to take it with him, sometimes he'll take the dry ingredients and then mix it all when he gets there, and then sometimes he'll mix it at home, and it'll begin to rise a little bit, and he'll put it in the refrigerator, and he'll just grab the bag out of the refrigerator and put it in his pack and take it with him, and then when it's time to eat, he'll just pull out what he wants of it and get it kneaded and flattened out and cook it on the fire, and it's fantastic.
it is so good. The interesting part to me is he don't really, and I can find that video and link to it in the description below, but it's not really precise ingredients. It's just like take some flour, take a little bit of this and this, and anyway, so Matt was really intrigued by it, thinking about taking it with him camping or, you know, in the woods or whatever. So he made some a couple of days ago. And typically the gentleman doesn't he, like, if he does mix it up there while he's there, he does it and then sets it aside to, like, he says ferment, let it, I don't know if it's actually, the yeast is just activating and it's rising, but anyway, and then so sometimes he won't just mix it up and then cook it. He lets it sit for maybe overnight or several hours or whatever.
A few hours.
But so Matt made some, what was 2 days ago or something?
3 days ago.
Yeah, and put it in a bag like that, thinking, because if we go somewhere, you know, if we're outside, he wanted to do it kind of in that same way. And then you let it sit overnight in the refrigerator.
Well, I didn't. The first time I made it, it sat for just a couple of hours, and I just couldn't stand it anymore, so I got some of it out and just cooked it on the camp chef outside a couple of different ways. And one way was I turned the pot upside down, made just a little oven, and made a really big roll, and cooked it that way, and it was mighty good. And then the other way, I flattened it out like he did, and actually put it in a frying pan and cooked it in butter, just almost kind of like fry bread, and that was really good. And then the next morning for breakfast, I went back out on the porch and cooked bacon and eggs, and then I'd done the same thing, flattened it out and cooked it in the bacon grease, and it was really good. So yeah, it's very simple. And that bag, I think I started out with around 2 cups of flour, and I've been eating on it this is the 3rd day. Actually made some for Katie this morning. She really likes it.
It's so good though, and it's so hard to believe. I'm thinking of all the years I've made bread and all the kneading and all that, and the rise times, and I still love bread like that. I'm going to continue to make it, or in the bread machine or whatever. But for when you're in a hurry or something, I just can't believe how good it is.
Yeah,
it's just really, it's kind of got a chewier texture.
Yeah.
But it's got great flavor.
Oh, yeah,
it's just really good.
It's yeasty, like yeast bread flavor, and then it gets more of that as the days go on.
Yeah.
And according to him, he said it would eventually turn into like sourdough starter.
Yeah.
And I guess it would with the yeast in it if you just
left
kept it.
Yeah.
But it's really, really good. You can get it just a little bit crispy on the outside, and then it has that chewy inside, and it's real good. I put some honey and butter on mine one morning, and some jelly, and you can just do all kinds of stuff with it.
Yeah. It's so good. He uses it in some of his videos. He uses it like and puts meat or something, like does more of a tortilla.
Yeah, and just fold it up around
and
the
folds
meat.
it around
Yeah.
whatever he's eating.
It's what I like. He cooks it on a shovel.
Yeah,
That's
he cooks
fantastic.
it on a shovel.
I love that.
Cooks it on a shovel.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just really interesting. Interesting channel if you want to watch it, but I'm glad Matt was finally like, well, I'm going to just find out about that bread.
I'll keep doing that.
Yeah, I think so. It's really good.
The cool thing is, like if we go up in the woods on a hike or whatever, and we're going to eat, we could have a bag of that made, and we could take it with us and have fresh bread on the trail.
Yeah, for sure. Or if you're going camping, you take it with you, and
you
could
could
take 2 or 3 bags and have enough to make it your whole camping trip.
Yeah, you could. I want to make a big enough pile of dough or whatever you want to call it. I want to and make a whole loaf of
Let's
it
see what that's like.
in the oven, and then slice it and see how that does. Because I think it'd be really good.
It's just really interesting to me that, like I said, because I've made bread for so many years and tried different recipes and stuff, and it's all so precise. And I'm not saying that's bad. Like I said, I'll keep making those. But then he just throws it all in there and smooshes it up in that bag and throws it down and then eats it. And
It literally mixes and kneads it in the bag.
Yeah.
I mean, by just squeezing and pushing
and then
the
just
outside of
throws
the
it
bag.
down and leaves it until he's ready to make it.
Fantastic.
It's just strange, but it's really good, really tasty. Maybe we'll get Matt to do a video and show us how you made it. And show us. Speaking of that, now you've made me hungry.
Yeah, I'm hungry. I'm always hungry. I'm always hungry. What are we gonna eat?
I don't know. Maybe you got any bread left?
There's a little bit, yeah.
You can make us some bread and we put tomatoes on it.
Yeah, good. Yeah, there's enough.
Have
probably
some
enough
with
left.
if there's enough left, have some with some tomato sliced on it, and then some with some honey and butter.
Yeah, honey and butter's good.
So good, yeah. And he eats. It's interesting on his camping trip because so many of them he just goes for, I guess, like one night, and he'll travel way back, in the wilderness to do it. So he's packing light and not taking much, and but he'll put his honey and his butter in all mixed, put it in a little container or whatever. And because he's in Alaska, sometimes it's like so cold, he'll set it by the fire to let it melt and infuse itself, and then shake it up and pour it on that bread.
Yeah, it's my kind of eating.
Yeah. I like tomatoes like with breakfast stuff, so I think about tomatoes and biscuit type things, and it's with honey and butter, or syrup, sorghum syrup, and tomatoes. I think that goes good. Somehow the acid and the sweetness.
Oh yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah. Well, we're always grateful when you stop by to help us celebrate Appalachia.